Is the Pokemon collapse here? In today's video, we are going to explain that entirely so you don't have to question anymore. I see a lot of people talk about the Pokemon collapse and how everything is collapsing and how things aren't going to be worth the same it used to be anymore, and how no one's going to be interested in the market. And I'm here to discuss it. I'm here to analyze the actual information that is available to us to be actually able to determine what is actually happening in the market. Now, this is based on statistical analysis. I'm not going to go based off of what I think. I'm going to go based off historical analysis. Initially, of course, everybody is going crazy about the summer slump. Well, and some people are thinking that it could be a summer slump, or it could not be a summer slump. It could be a full micro correction and it going back to prices where we have not seen in a few years. So let's go ahead and investigate. The reason being is that when I look at these items, or I look at these things that are going on right now, I'm looking at what's actually happening. And if you look at the more modern things, of course, you're going to start seeing pretty crazy stuff. Everything is getting really close to MSRP prices. You know, the pitch black elite trainer boxes are 80 bucks. Pitch black booster boxes are 200 bucks. Yes, when you look at it outside as a picture like that, you would sit there and say yes, absolutely. Even if we look at Chaos Rising, the sealed products, of course, well, we have 186 for a booster box, 70 bucks for an ATB, a lot closer to MSRP prices, right? We got 571 for a single pack of booster of Chaos Rising. And even if you look at Perfect Order, it's even worse. Perfect Order has, I think it was at closer to 160 bucks for a booster box. And people are using this information to say, hey, this set is collapsing. Everything else in the Pokemon market is collapsing. We need to exit. And I see a lot of this like controversial opinions about what's actually going to be happening in the market. So we still have booster boxes at $70. Even a box, even for a set like Perfect Order, ETBs are still going for $70, a little bit higher than the actual MSRP value. But let's look at something other than that. We'll look at Ascended Heroes. Ascended Heroes did have a relatively larger size slump. Even the single cards, remember that Gengar being at like 1,500. Pikachu was at 1,300 at some point. Yes, it did go up. Dragonite stayed about the same. The rest of them stayed about the same. But I think the biggest one that did take a hit was the Mega Gengar. Now we're looking at the sealed products, and almost everything for Ascended has taken a hit. And it could be in varying prices. Doesn't necessarily mean that everything is collapsing, but that means that there's more items being printed out and more availability to these products, and more people want to remove them. Now, a lot of the reason why people there's called a summer slump is because people are stopping. They're spending time with their family. They're trying to use their money wisely, or they use their money to have fun in this period, from usually around June to all the way till August. So a lot of people, they don't want to start spending money on Pokemon. That's why they usually use it for gifts and things like that. So we looked at Ascended Heroes. It does show that there has been a small hit. Usually the ATB was at 180. It did drop to 171. Ascended Heroes booster was at 95. Now it's at about 87. So things are taking a hit. We're back to about $10 a pack for the actual single booster packs on things like the Mega Emperor. I'm sorry, we're trying to get back to the $4 of $10 a pack. I know the deluxe pin is usually the one that you usually see, but we're a little bit closer. We're at 63 bucks. Let's see, it was at 65. It wasn't that much of a hit that it has taken from the last few weeks. We start going into Phantasmal Flames. Phantasmal Flames has been on an uptick. ETB was at 120 2 weeks ago. Now it's a little bit 150. Even the bundles, the booster boxes, specifically booster boxes, have increased drastically in price. I think they were at 320. Now they're at 420, so almost a 100% increase. You don't believe me? I can put it up. Let's say the last 6 months, it's just been increasing significantly. And yes, you would see small ticks here and there, small dips here and there, where people are just liquidating their inventories just so they can move them, because not many people are trying to spend money on Pokemon in the summer, and that's okay. That's what happens. That's why they call it the summer slump. It's not because it's completely collapsing, but let's take a look at other sets like Mega Evolution. Mega Evolution hasn't had a relatively larger size print ever since, you know, the beginning of this year. It did release back in September, but used to see booster boxes for 100, 180, 200 bucks. Now it's at 322 bucks. The ETBs 120, 118. They were 110 a few weeks ago. You know, so it is a summer slump, but I would say it's for more relatively newer sets that are in the market and people are not necessarily as interested in them. I'll be honest with you, Pitch Black, Chaos Rising, and Perfect Order all don't have necessarily those high hitters that people are looking for. Yes, that Greninja is nice in Chaos Rising. Pitch Black has a beautiful Darkrai and the Morpeko that I definitely want to chase. And even Mega Evolution, you know, I would say has a few different hitters, but since the age of the Mega Evolution was a little bit older and there's not as much print out there, you're gonna start seeing these prices start to increase. Specifically, like Phantasmal Flames booster boxes are ridiculously priced. Let's go back. Let's go to Black Bolt and White Flare. You know, Victini was at 500, and then I think the Dark Zekrom was at 400 at one point. You can even see it right here. It says 6 months ago. This is a PSA 10. Let's just go look at only Raw. I mean, it was at 6 in February, you know, 400 bucks in February, and it's just increased. There was no summer slump for the Victini, unfortunately. You know, same thing with the Zekrom. It's just one of those things that people are. Look at the Seismitoad. Even let's go back to it. Look at the Seismitoad. This thing just picked up in price. Of course, it's a lot due to the artist. I understand that entirely, but for people who are saying, hey, exit, you know, I think they have not necessarily seen the actual information of what's actually going on. Yes, I'm only choosing a few different sets from Modern to demonstrate my point, but as you can see, you know, the ETBs been going up in price, stabilized right now for the summer slump because not many people are doing it. But look at back in May, 114, June 135, now it's at 170, July 164. So it's continuing to increase. And we are the whole market collapse is just skepticism on what's actually happening. Let's go back. Let's go look at Prismatic. Prismatic is a set that everybody was chasing. Umbreon is at 1,500 bucks, dropped down from 1,600, but singles did see a small spike downward because of all the new release product that has been releasing in Costco's and Targets, because Target has been releasing a ton of these super collection boxes. But with that being said, ETBs back to 160, as it was 140. Prismatic surprise boxes 65. They're usually like MSRP as at 35 bucks or something around those lines, you know, or 25 bucks or something along those lines. Things are going to have a standstill right now in the summer, but once the whole holiday craze starts, it's gonna pick back up. We can go back and let's say the first one from let's talk about some of the other ones from what's the name of it, this Stellar Crown. You know, Squirtle up 118 bucks, was significantly priced back in the day. It wasn't that significantly priced back in the day. Now we have Stereo Crown booster boxes at 315 bucks. We'll look at the historical analysis for it. Steadily increasing. There's not much of this in inventory to be able to determine and say, hey, everything is going to collapse. I think honestly people are using this information or this kind of scare to scare people to sell. What does that mean for you as a collector? As a collector, you have an opportunity, but not everything's an opportunity. If you want to start growing your collection, I think it's a good time, potentially. Doesn't mean right now is a good time. Yes, you're starting to see 10 or 20%, but that doesn't mean that's the floor of the actual market trend. A good way to actually determine if it's a good time to purchase is looking at how much in sales there is. So let's look at this Victini, for example. If I were to be purchasing this card specifically, right? Part of it trying to purchase this card specifically, I would be looking at how many items of this can I see in the market currently, right? I see a total of 20 red Victinis, not even 20, 12 red Victinis, and none of them are market priced. Market is $5.99, 645 bucks. That's on TCG Player alone. Last sales on this, let's look at the View More data. 726, 2 days ago, 654, 726, 640, 723, 640. It is like the actual market looks like people are selling it higher than actual market price for this Victini. So if you look at it and say, hey, you know what, people are paying 640 bucks for this, it might be a good idea to consider purchasing this Victini. Let's take a look at some other my favorites, the Generations card sets. We noticed that in TCG Player, there's not that much information of what the actual value of this is. So we'll look at the price to this, and it says market price is at $4,700. Market price is at $4,700. There's almost nothing being sold on TCG Player. This is one of the boxes that I have, and now I didn't purchase this recently, but this is the last sale that it was us. $725. That was 3 days ago. $4,700 bucks. The whole point of this video was to explain that a lot of the information sometimes can be misconstrued or very hyper fixated to bring like chaos into the space. Honestly, sometimes it is just about the views, and they're trying to bring speculation and people commenting and stuff like that. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. We will be doing more of these videos on market analysis and trying to see what's a good opportunity for people to jump in. And as always, stay safe and have a great day.